Well, yesterday, December 9th, was the 41st anniversary of the death of Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen, Venerable Bishop Sheen. Wanted to say a little bit about his life this morning, because in my opinion, he certainly was the greatest bishop in the history of the United States, and perhaps the greatest evangelizer of the 20th century. Born May 8th, 1895, died on December 9th, 1979. And I just want to mention his four great loves. Number one was his love of our Blessed Mother. He went to Lourdes 14 times. He prayed the Rosary every day, preached so much about Our Lady. He wrote one of the greatest books ever written on Our Lady called The World's First Love. He would always end his sermons on Our Lady by reading that beautiful poem, Lovely Lady Dressed in Blue. And he always prayed that he would die on a feast day of Our Lady, that he would drop dead before the Blessed Sacrament, on a Saturday or a feast day of Our Lady. Well, he missed it by one day. Instead of dying on December 8th, he died on December 9th. But that's still within the octave of Our Lady, and he did die before the Blessed Sacrament. And and of course now it's the feast day of St. Juan Diego, the great evangelizer of the 16th century, and Bishop Sheen died on his feast day, which is now his feast day, and I believe Bishop Sheen, the greatest evangelizer of the 20th century. Number two, his great love of the poor, the suffering, and the salvation of souls. Bishop Sheen had leper colonies that he supported, hospitals that he built for African Americans in Arkansas. He was a great defender of civil rights, and he loved the poor so much. After his TV shows, when he would come out of the studio, the poor would all gather around and he would give each one a $20 bill. He helped people with donations, paid rent for the poor. When my mom was his secretary in the early 1940s, he gave her a very generous gift to be able to take all her friends out for lunch. So his great love for the poor and the suffering. Number three, he was a great lover and teacher of the truth. Again, what a great evangelist. He wrote 66 books during his lifetime, 2 regular newspaper columns every week. He did his radio show for many years, and then once TV occurred in the 1950s, he had his Life is Worth Living TV show, which had ratings. He was up against Milton Berle, and many times he would beat Milton Berle's ratings. He would have 20 to 30 million viewers, not only Catholics, but members of the Protestant faith and the Jewish faith would be avid watchers every week of Bishop Sheen. He even won an Emmy, and when he received his Emmy, he said, "I'd like to thank my writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John." He wrote countless articles. He would often receive 20,000 letters a day that he would try to respond to. It's said that he brought in 52,000 converts into the Catholic faith, and then spent the end of his life giving retreats all over the world, especially retreats for priests. He would even give a retreat in New York City at Carnegie Hall for 1,500 actors on one day. Lastly, his great love, of course, was our Lord Jesus Christ and the Church. He never missed making a daily holy hour before the Blessed Sacrament in 62 years. Imagine that. Sometimes, if the church was locked, he would stand outside and just look through the crack in the door to be able to see the tabernacle and stand there for an hour, or look in a church window if he couldn't get inside. But he would always spend 1 hour a day before the Blessed Sacrament. Sometimes he got locked in the church and have to climb once over a confessional and dropped outside into a dustbin. One time in Paris, he only had a few hours in between trains. So he went into the church and he fell fast asleep. He could never sleep during the day. In fact, he only slept 5 hours a night. But on this occasion, he fell fast asleep. When he woke up, he had to go catch his train. He said, "Lord, did I make a holy hour today?" And the Lord said to him, "Yes, just like the apostles made the first holy hour, sound asleep in the Garden of Gethsemane." But of course, he had great influence and power over souls, great love for the church. And of course, he was made venerable, declared venerable by Pope Benedict, and then he was supposed to be beatified a year ago, but unfortunately, because of some bishops in the United States Catholic Conference, they said to the Vatican, no, we need more time to continue looking into his life, and so they did pause the beatification process, but we are hopeful that he will be beatified in the near future. The miracle for his beatification was approved. It was a stillborn baby that was declared dead for 1 hour. The parents prayed to Bishop Sheen. The child came back to life, and that was the miracle approved for his beatification. So we are praying that this will occur. So what I encourage you today, as we just celebrated the 41st anniversary of the death of Bishop Sheen, pray every day for his beatification. Ask him to pray for you. I do believe he's a powerful saint. My mom was so impressed with working with him. Listen to his CDs, his YouTubes, the podcasts that are available. His TV shows are still aired on EWTN. Read one of his 66 books, The Life of Christ or Peace of Soul, and realize that, again, he was just, in my opinion, the greatest Catholic bishop, perhaps the greatest American Catholic in the last century, and the greatest evangelizer. And he would always end every one of his sermons with, God love you.